Good evening. Last night we covered the sentencing of convicted murderer Brett Butts. Tonight, we asked the question investigators spent nearly a year trying to answer. Why? Why would a quiet, socially isolated 19-year-old deliberately set fire to the home of a respected minister? The answer begins years before the fire, inside the halls of Pineview High School. By every account, Brett Butts was invisible. Teachers described him as intelligent. Classmates described him as strange. Attendance records show nearly 300 documented disciplinary reports involving harassment directed at Brett during his 4 years at Pineview High. He was shoved into lockers, laughed at during presentations. His books were routinely thrown into trash cans. One former student told investigators, "Nobody hated Brett. We just enjoyed watching everybody else hate Brett." No evidence has ever suggested Brett had a history of violence. No juvenile arrests, no documented fights, no gang activity, no weapons, nothing until Heather Hart. Heather was everything Brett wasn't. Honor student, cheerleader, homecoming court, daughter of Pastor John Hart of Pineview Community Church. Publicly, she represented everything the community admired. Privately, investigators would discover a very different young woman. Friends described constant arguments inside the Hart household. Former classmates recalled Heather openly talking about becoming a model after graduation. Church members insisted her parents considered those ambitions sinful. One detective later summarized the relationship in 4 words.
2 people wanted control.
Her parents wanted control over Heather. Heather wanted control over everyone else, including Brett. According to evidence presented during trial, Heather approached Brett herself, not the other way around. She asked for help writing a criminal psychology paper. The assignment was titled, "The Perfect Crime." Teachers believed it was nothing more than creative writing. Detectives now believe it became something else. Brett spent weeks researching arson investigations, insurance claims, response times, natural gas systems, and methods investigators used to determine the point of origin in residential fires. The paper received an A. Detectives would later recover handwritten notes in the margins. Most appeared academic. One did not. Across the bottom of the final page, someone had written, "Would this actually work?" Investigators were never able to determine whether Brett wrote those words or Heather. Friends noticed changes almost immediately. Heather began meeting Brett after school, behind the auditorium, inside the abandoned auto shop, in empty classrooms. Nobody questioned it. Most assumed she was tutoring him. According to prosecutors, she was doing something very different. She was finding out exactly how far Brett would go if she made him believe she loved him. One witness described overhearing Heather laughing with another student. When asked if she was dating Brett, she reportedly answered, "Please, he's just useful." Investigators believe the relationship escalated over several months. Phone records show hundreds of late-night calls. Notes recovered from Brett's bedroom became increasingly obsessive. He described Heather as
The only person who had ever seen me.
She described Brett quite differently. A page recovered from her locker contained only 6 words. "He'll do whatever I ask." Detectives now believe that statement became the foundation of the murders. Exactly what happened during their final meetings remains disputed. No recording exists. No witnesses came forward. Only Brett and Heather know precisely what was said. But prosecutors argued Heather made him an offer of freedom in exchange for fire. The defense called the claim unbelievable. The prosecution called it the only explanation that fit the evidence. Whatever happened, Brett stopped being a lonely teenager. He started behaving residence, church schedules, family routines. Everything was documented, everything was planned. Investigators insist the fire was not impulsive, it was rehearsed, calculated, built one small decision at a time. And on the night of October 29th, someone opened a gas line beneath the Hart residence. Someone waited, someone struck a flame. 3 people never walked out. 1 person did. Tomorrow night, we examine what firefighters found inside the ruins, and why several first responders have refused interviews for nearly a year.